YouTube family, what's going on? I'm back. I was going to do my little recap on investing.com really quick, but I just wanted to make. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it's going to be quick. I think this one actually will be. No. I just wanted to read you some responses that I got from Grok. I've been messing around with it on Twitter a bit, and Twitter, on X. I still call it Twitter, even though it's been X for forever. Um, Pretty interesting stuff, but I just wanted really quick, we'll just go over the investing.com, see what the prices are at, see what the historical data is at. Um, and then I want to just read the questions I've been asking. And I found out that you have to be very, very specific when you're asking the questions, and you kind of have to continuously reword them and um, find the you have to kind of ask the general question, listen to the answer that it gives you, and reword the question that you asked to get more specific information, because it's only pulling those keywords off of whatever sources and stuff that it does. But um, let's go ahead and get into it really quickly. Investing.com. Let's go to VND. Okay. During the week, it's always like this. Don't know why. But then we go and look at the historical data, right, from the 24th. What did it close as? 0.39. But the gentleman who kind of showed me the Wayback Machine and all this other stuff, right? He's been watching it too. Every day, this is the price. Every day, this is the closing price. It doesn't make sense. Literally doesn't make sense. We go to the daily. It doesn't show anything other on the daily than the missing zeros price. So once again, here's the daily chart. This goes all the way back to May 2024 that you can see here. It's up 40 cents, 39 cents, right? Every day it's this. Every closing it's this. Still does not compute. Rial is the same thing. The Iranian rial, same thing, right? Historical data, every day it's closing as $2.38. Every day it's showing up as 0.00023 during the day. But at nighttime, whatever they're getting for their closing rates, that's what it is. I'm still going through in a deep dive of everything else, but I'm not gonna do that today. I just don't have the time. I need to give my brain a break. I haven't been sleeping. I've been going down so many rabbit holes. I've just been up till 3 or 4 every night. And so here's the rupiah. You can see the spike and then it drops down, right? But tomorrow that spike will continue over. It's something's weird. But I wanted to make this video because I want you guys to see why I'm so super bullish on XRP. Always have been, because it's always been there. The information has always been there. And so let's just get right into it really quick. I ask, how many remittance companies, payment providers, or banks are partnered with the cryptocurrency company Ripple around the globe? Okay. I'm just going to breeze through this. You guys can pause the video so you can read it yourself. And I am going to upload this to my Twitter as well. But it says Ripple has established itself as a significant player in the global financial industry, particularly with its focus on cross-border payments, according to various reports and posts on platforms like X. Okay, so don't just take X's word for it, but it does have, right here you can see it has 8 posts that it pulled up, and then it has 15 search results. So that's actually pulling from the internet and from X. Ripple has over 500 plus banks connected to its network. This information has been shared by several users on X, indicating a broad adoption among financial institutions, not just shared by X. Let me just clarify that. It is on Ripple's website as well, and it's very well documented. If you go, and there's like so many charts and great infographics that have been put together by people. I think Stedas was one of them, or Stedas, I don't know how to pronounce it, STADAS. He has a bunch of really good ones, but it shows it shows all the banks and stuff there that we know about, right? Which is over 500. So additionally, there are mentions of Ripple being linked with over 40% of the world's top 100 banks. Okay, 40% of the top 100 banks in the entire globe, which includes major institutions like HSBC, Bank of America, and Santander. HSBC has been a longtime partner of Ripple, so has Santander. Bank of America actually has a patent that has Ripple in the patent for their new banking system they're going to be rolling out. Okay, it says this suggests an extensive reach into the top tier of global banking. True. Ripple's partnerships extend beyond banks to include remittance companies and payment providers, with some sources suggesting that Ripple has more than 200 financial institutions signed up for its RippleNet network for real-time, low-cost cross-border payments. All right, so just to recap that, 500 banks connected to its network, 40% of the world's top 100 banks, and over 200 financial institutions. And they are making these differently. The banks and the financial institutions, they're listing separately because these financial institutions are cross-border payment providers like MoneyGram and Western Union, remittance providers like MoneyGram and Western Union, Tranglo. We saw on a freak out of Africa, right? That had 40 countries in it of its own, and then 1,500 or whatever it was, 1,800 financial institutions in the Middle East, Africa, UK, Australia. So, I mean, those aren't even listed, and I showed you guys that on my stream how many there was just from that one partnership. And Tranglo, I believe, is way bigger than On a Freak. So, I mean, volume-wise, I don't know about the actual partnerships and institutions and stuff. Tranglo may not have as many. I'm thinking just because there's so many countries in Africa, and there's so many different remittances, and using mobile payment apps is very, very big over there because they don't have a lot of banks everywhere. And so, street merchants, things like that, if you think of China, and India and Africa, and where a lot of people don't have access to actual banking systems, they're using peer-to-peer payment systems. So I'm paying you at the farmer's market in XRP or whatever for whatever it is. That's what they're talking about when they're talking about remittances and financial institutions. And even though doing things like that aren't necessarily remittances, they're partnered with those same companies that do the remittances, have the same applications that they do for peer-to-peer transactions. So it's like the same app does the same things, right? Next question I ask, can you provide me with a list of the 500 banks and 200 financial institutions that have been linked to Ripple, RippleNet, XRP, and ODL, which is their on-demand liquidity, which is using XRP as the settlement mechanism for these transfers, remittances, cross-border payments, peer-to-peer payments, okay? It says, blah, 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 I can't do it because it's too many partners and I'm not that advanced yet. I'm just kidding. It doesn't say that, but pretty much. It says banks partnered with Ripple. Bank of America, PNC Bank, USA, right? Santander, Spain and USA. Standard Charter, UK. American Express, USA, for blockchain payment solutions, which is huge, right? Because that means they're implementing it on the back end of their credit card payment system. Commonwealth Bank, Australia. National Australia Bank, Australia. Westpac, Australia. Siam Commercial Bank, Thailand. Daiwa Securities Group, Japan. SBI Holdings. SBI Holdings is a conglomerate of banks. They have a conglomerate. SBI Holdings themselves is not a conglomerate of banks, but they have underneath them a conglomerate of banks that's over I think 60 banks in Japan. It's one of the biggest companies over there. So I mean that one alone, right? Again, it says it doesn't list a lot of that stuff in here, but RPC, Royal Bank of Canada, RBC, I said RPC, Royal Bank of England, UK, for research and testing. Wink, wink, right? Because they just want to research the best technology and test the best technology, but they don't want to use it. Yeah, right. Bank of Yokohama, Japan. Shinshi Bank, Japan. MUFG Bank, Japan. Mizuho, I don't know how to pronounce that. Financial Group, Japan. Rizona Bank Japan, Nomura Holdings Bank Japan, Seven Bank Japan. This is kind of misleading because I think most of these banks are actually under the umbrella of SBI Holdings, but like through kind of subsidiaries and stuff. And the CEO of SBI, Mr. Katao, he has stated multiple times that every bank in Japan will use XRP for all of their payments by the end of 2025. Financial institutions and payment providers: MoneyGram, USA, Western Union, USA, okay, TransferGo, InstaRem, ZipRemit, Canada, Singapore, UK, Currencies Direct, UK, Ripple Trade, Hong Kong, Fidor Bank, Germany, Bitso, Mexico, V Americas, USA, Mercury FX in the UK. Okay. Basically, all this is saying is you would need to ask Ripple for a more complete list, but right here, many partnerships may not be publicly disclosed due to NDAs or because they are in the pilot or testing phases. I can tell you this. All of these things that you can go and find and research, and I'm actually going to use Grok's information to make a really deep dive into it and compile every single piece. I mean, it's probably going to take me like a month. It's going to take me a lot of studying, but it's it will show you the extent of Ripple and where they are. Okay. So the next thing I ask, can you provide me with, and this is the most important, pay attention, can you provide me with the amount of total transactional volume for the list of 500 banks and 200 financial institutions directly linked to Ripple, RippleNet, XRP, and ODL? So basically, you can see what I'm doing. I'm asking a basic question, getting a set of data, asking a more specific set of data, getting that, and then kind of just building on that, right? It basically says it can't tell us the total transactional volume. Once again, a lot of this isn't publicly disclosed. They don't really know how much banks are doing like every single day, back and forth or anything like that. They can only pull the information that's on the internet, right? So let's go down to yeah, so I actually, I'm not going to read any of this because I didn't find any of it really useful. It was all stuff I already knew, but if you want to pause it right now, you can read all of this. Okay, pause. Okay, we're done. Now I said, can you provide me with the annual volume of money sent by the banks listed below? And I listed all of the banks that they did. Okay, so listen to these numbers. Bank of America, for example, in 2023, their total assets were reported to be around 3.1 trillion US dollars. Okay. When you're reading all of this and you're hearing all of this, keep in mind that Ripple and everything is going to be tokenized. Everything, stocks, commodities, any bonds like gold, silver, like anything is going to be tokenized, fractionalized. Like everyone loves the ETFs because they get to own a little piece of Bitcoin or whatever instead of just buying Bitcoin. They may get more Bitcoin with the ETFs or MicroStrategy's their Bitcoin model gives you a lot more Bitcoin, I think, but I've never really looked into it. It's like you might as well just buy Bitcoin, right? Because at that point you're just like you're giving these people that we don't want to give money, you're giving them money. But let's just read all of the total assets that these bank holds. Keep in mind that at some point they're transferring a good amount of this money, and at some point all of it will be tokenized. It will all be on the blockchain. It will all be transferred and sent over there. Okay, so while the volume isn't listed and it can't really list the volume unless it's published somewhere on the internet, the amount of assets that they have, you can assume over a 5 or 10 year period that they would probably transfer the total equivalent amount of their assets, right? Like over time. So once again, Bank of America, $3.1 trillion. PNC Bank, total assets for 2023 was $557 billion. So we're already at $3.5 trillion. How much is today's crypto market cap? Let's just go look really quick. That's not what I need. So right now the crypto market cap as a whole is 3.6 or 3.26 trillion. okay, as a whole, all of the coins. Look up here in the corner. If you guys can see this, cryptos, there's 2.4 million cryptos out there, okay? Cryptocurrencies. And the market cap is 3.26 trillion. So these two banks alone have literally as many assets as the entire crypto market cap and their Ripple partners, okay? Santander, about $1.3 trillion USD. Okay, so now we're at 4 point whatever trillion. Another 600 billion, 670 billion, right? So now we're like closer to 5 trillion in assets that are Ripple partners. 1.5 trillion here from American Express. So now we're at what, 6.5 trillion, 850 billion Australian dollars, right? So 560 billion USD. So now we're at 7 trillion. 870 billion, so that's about the same as this. So let's just make it another 600 billion there. So 7.6 trillion dollars in assets so far. Westpac, another same thing. We'll just round it up to 8 trillion, just make it, and I'm actually lowballing that one a bit. But then we have CM Commercials, another 100 billion. So now we're at $8.1 trillion so far out of these banks that I've read that they have in assets. MUFG, and they have around 2.2 trillion. So now we are at $10 trillion in assets. Then we have another 1.4 trillion. I'm saying trillion a lot. So now 11.4 trillion, right? And then this one has 50 trillion. So based on this, I think that would be about, let's just call it 500 billion so I can keep it easy. So whatever, we're at 11.5, somewhere around there. We got another 1.2 trillion here for the Bank of Canada. So let's call that $12.7 trillion in assets. This one, Bank of England, doesn't have anything listed. It doesn't even say, what assets they have, or it doesn't. It says it doesn't here operate in the same manner as commercial banks. So focuses more on the financial stability, monetary policy, and issuing currency. However, that does not mean that they don't have any assets under them. Okay, so just from these banks, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, oh, and right here, look, guys, Japanese banks. It doesn't even show SBI Holdings or most of these banks here, right? It lists 3 banks. It lists 3 banks out of the 8 or 9 that are here. So we're already at like $12 trillion basically, which is just Ripple Partners assets. $12 trillion. That is 4 times the amount of the entire crypto market cap right now. And those are Ripple Partners. And that was only a handful of them. How many banks was that? Not even 10? Like whatever, not even 15? And it says they have over 500 banks. 500 banks? 200 financial institutions? I just read you 15 of some of their biggest ones, and we're already at $12 trillion. Okay? It is ridiculous to think that these people that run these banks would not want to save all of their money. With RippleNet, if you look into it, it saves all of these banks. They advertise 40 to 60% being saved. It's a lot more than that. We know cryptocurrency saves a lot more than that. I mean, Ripple itself is like fractions of a penny just to send money. It's the same thing when it gets into bigger numbers. It's pretty amazing. The other day, just on our run up alone with XRP, we burned over 1.7 million XRP. A lot of people don't know about the burn either from all the Ripple drops and everything, but that's there too. So XRP does actually have a burn mechanism. So one day, if all of this volume is flowing through it, right, and we're talking 4 times the total amount of the crypto market cap from 15 of 700 banks or financial institutions that Ripple's partnered with. Okay, 15 of 700 is already 4 times the crypto market cap. It is totally feasible that Ripple is burning tens of millions of XRP a year. I mean, it did 1.7 the other day in what, a week? 2 weeks? Just because of the run up? Imagine when the banks are shooting $12 trillion in volume annually or whatever across Ripple and XRP. What will the burn rate be then? You know, it could get up to hundreds of millions. We don't know. But my point is that all of these banks have the craziest amount of assets and no one talks about it. Not enough, anyways. The XRP holders, the people who have been here from the beginning, the really bullish XRP holders talk about it, but no one else does. This is why XRP will be the best asset in the entire world, hands down. It is handling all of the money of the banks. It will even handle Bitcoin's transactional volume once, banks are either holding Bitcoin or it becomes part of the, United States strategic reserve or whatever it is, and they're cashing that out into regular fiat, and then they're sending that fiat overseas or whatever it is. Like, everything is going to go through Ripple. Everything is going to go through XRP. I am going to go into a deeper dive in another video, and I think my next video, I'll probably make it tomorrow. I will pull up the United States Department of Treasury report that they submitted to Donald Trump that has Ripple in it, and it was what inspired him to do a specific executive order. And Ripple was like the only cryptocurrency company in there, along with it had like, Microsoft and Amazon and Google and all of these different banks. It had every single financial, like any federal government financial entity was also in there participating with them. And this was from 2017. And I have the documentation I can show you. But I just wanted to post that for you guys. That's why I'm super ultra bullish on XRP, always have been. If you go back and look at my other videos, I've always been a super XRP bull. So I love you guys. I will catch you guys tomorrow. 22-minute video. It's never short. It's never short. Anyways, thanks guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow.